Okay, welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Natasha.
Hi, Natasha. I'm Karen.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Cheryl.
We almost did it. We almost got it perfect. I really would have enjoyed if it was, hi, Natasha, I'm Karen. Hi, Karen, I'm Sarah. Hi, Sarah, I'm Cheryl. I just did this annoying circle.
Next time.
Let's just work it out next time.
So we took last week off because I was gone for vacation. And while I was gone, the world went to even more shit. I signed into Facebook a couple times while I was out, and I was like, never mind. Just immediately logged out again. So today we decided that we had to call about the tax plan because this is bonkers. Karen is nodding fervently. So I'm going to let Karen take the lead on this one because I am not feeling 100% today, but I'm still making my call.
Well, hopefully you all felt the need to call on the tax plan last week in lieu of doing this. So I did. But excitingly enough, Bill Track 50 app called my congressman right from there. That was great.
Snap.
So the tax bill is terrible. It is comically bad. It is terrible. You can all share what you hate about it. But here's what's happened. The House passed a terrible bill, and then the Senate modified it, made it worse, passed that. Great. So now they have to come to an agreement on reconcile the differences between them, and then they both vote again. So that is, the House has decided who's going to go to the conference committee to decide on the differences. The Senate, I think, is doing that today, and they'll send some people. And then when they come to an agreement, that goes back. So we still have a chance, a very slim chance, but we should absolutely be calling and howling about this. One good piece of news, they always had the option that the House could simply, if they can't come to an agreement, because the House loses control of the Freedom Caucus or whatever, there was the option that the House could just pass the Senate version. However, the Senate version, it turns out, in part of the handwritten part, has an error in it that is very disruptive to the intention of the bill. And so they really can't just pass the Senate version because the Senate version is wrong. So that is, they do have to at least come up with some sort of bill that they both can agree on. It's a very small consolation. But Slate has a great headline I was reading. Senate Republicans make a $289 billion mistake in the handwritten tax bill they passed at 2 a.m. Go figure. We've got a picture of Mitch McConnell, and underneath the picture it says, derp, derp, derp.
Oh my God.
And that's the actual caption for the picture. And then they go on to explain. So what they messed up is the alternative minimum tax for corporations. The way it's written now, it basically erases the whole point of bringing back money into the United States.
Maybe that's what they meant to do.
Really hobbled the research and development deductions, which is terrible. That guy, that coal guy from the whole John Oliver thing, he came out and said this bill will destroy the coal industry. So that's interesting. Good times, good times. That's not my least favorite thing about it, but it's a thing.
It wasn't one of the modifications that they made, like basically outlawing abortion? That they tax?
Well, it could be used that way. So they're setting aside money. Ted Cruz, who you gotta love, like, all right, well, let's say that you can use the money, the tax protected money you save for college that you can put away for your children to go to college with. Let's say you can spend that on private schools, religious schools, or on homeschooling. And so, okay, great. Let's take money out of the pockets of public schools so that you can children crazy religious stuff.
Right.
But be that as it may, it defined a child and when you can start saving for your child as when it's a fetus. So that's when life begins, according to the bill, and when you can start saving for your child's education.
Oh, Lord.
It's sort of lovely, but also it redefines when life begins, and it could easily be used then in other bills to say, other things. So that's where the whole it could outlaw abortion comes
Hey, you know what? If we had an education system like other developed countries in the world, we might not even have to save so much to put our kids through school. What do you think about that?
Let's try it. I think
I'm game.
okay. Also, healthcare. Obviously, the Senate version gutted Obamacare, did the repeal without the replace, by saying no more mandate. The reason no more mandate is in there is because if they say people don't have to buy health insurance, then people won't buy health insurance. At least healthy people won't buy health insurance, which means they'll no longer have to subsidize health insurance. So it saves $300 billion or something like that because a bunch of people aren't going to buy health insurance. Like, it straight up is admitting that it's not people aren't going to buy health insurance. And because healthy people don't buy health insurance, it drives up the cost of health insurance for everybody else, not just people on the private exchange, because now it's mostly sick people in health insurance. It's terrible, right? And that's why all of the insurance companies are against it. That's not in the House bill, so that's something that they're going to have to reconcile and figure out. But they can't pay for their stuff if they don't find places to save money, like taking healthcare away from people. It's
well, my favorite that they have is the teacher deduction. Taking that away, so teachers can no longer deduct their $250 for supplies. But if you are a corporation, you can still write off your office supplies. So, you know, we're really trying to support America and the future and, you know, do all the good things for the people. Children shouldn't have crayons. Take away all the crayons. Silly putty, glue. No more sparkly glue sticks.
That's an example of how they're trying to save money and like how dastardly this is. It is ridiculous.
Who the fuck is that gonna help? Nobody. Like, that is why.
The heirs of billionaires. That's who it helps.
If somebody had presented this to me in a script for a movie, I would be like, that's a little heavy-handed, don't you think? I'd be like, really? They're not like giving money to teachers, and they're not like letting people get health insurance.
Yeah, like, let's roll it back a little bit.
Let's make this a little more realistic.
For how freaking evil you could be. Like, this is like, they were like, oh, you think we're evil? Well, let us show you just how evil.
We're going to take money away from grad students.
Well, I'm like, God, these people are just...
It's the same thing with Matt Lauer having a button that locks his door underneath his desk. If somebody put that in a script, I'd have been like, really? But apparently...
So the House bill doesn't have the repeal of Obamacare in it, but the House bill had, it took away that you could deduct huge medical expenses, which, like, what? Like, it's just one of those things where you're like, what are you doing? Just trying to kill people? I don't know. Like, kill everybody and then take away teachers things, so then nobody will be educated. So then it'll just be like all uneducated, uninsured, unhealthy, slowly dying people, but you don't have to pay taxes on that first 11 mil that you inherit when mommy and daddy croak. So it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, and the whole thing is, you know, this is slammed through, like you said, 2 o'clock in the morning. There's 500 pages to read that the lobbyists had before other representatives had to read it. How do any of us have time to express our opinion to our representatives? And there's this big, like, trust me stamped on the top of it.
And it's like IOUs. And also, I forget who it was, but some stupid lady was like, I'm not going to be on that. And then they were like, oh, you can drill in, like, protected Arctic area. And she was like, okay,
lady. No. That was Lisa Murkowski, who is not a bad person, but they... off with drilling in the Alaska Refuge, and that is disappointing. And they bought off Collins in Maine with a property tax change to her thing. They bought off Johnson, who said he wouldn't in Ohio by changing. Yeah, they just one by one picked off everyone but Corker. And they probably could have got him too if they had to. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing that 60 people thought that that was okay to do to America. And Cheryl, you are so right about the process. How dare they? How dare they?
Right.
That's why I didn't even know that they worked on weekends.
They've compared it to the Affordable Health Care Act, which went through a much longer process. And by the way, there was a case study, right, for the Affordable Health Care Act if you looked at Massachusetts. I am not aware of any case study that shows the trickle-down theory working.
I must protest. There is a case study, and that
tell me.
Is in Kansas. So in Kansas, they did this. However, Kansas has a balanced budget, so they had to also like pay for their tax cut by gutting schools and all the rest, instead of just like only partially gutting schools and then kicking the can down the road to our children. Anyway, so Kansas did this. It was a wholesale disaster, utter and complete disaster, to the point where the legislature said we're not having it anymore, raised taxes. The governor vetoed it because he likes low taxes, and the legislature overrode the veto, which is pretty impressive.
Wow.
It's taxes, because you can't do this. It doesn't work. It was a complete disaster. So
well, and didn't the study that came out say that 10 years from now, nothing will be able to pay for itself, so they're having to raise taxes again anyway? So it's just whoever is in power at that point in time is going to have to be the asshole to do it, and it's going to like fuck everybody instead of just taking money from people who have too much money anyways.
It is vastly cynical. Yes. So Sarah, that is true. Like they're going to have to raise taxes later, only it's going to be someone else who has to do it. Number two, they're saying that, well, the corporate tax cut is permanent, right? The tax cut for people is not, right? And that then everyone's taxes go up. But the Republicans are promising, oh, they won't really raise taxes. So they're admitting.
Trust me, stamped on.
Yeah. It's a completely cynical ploy of we're getting around the rules, but everybody knows we're lying because it's going to work out that way. It's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And then what they're going to do is cut entitlements to pay for all of these tax breaks. So they're not admitting it right now. Actually, no, they are. They're cutting tons of entitlements right now. But later, they're going to ransack the country, which is going to be terrible for anyone who's not rich.
So this is a short-term goal accomplished with huge long-term ramifications. And if you look at what's happening in corporate America right now as well, you look at folks that are reporting for the market, right? So they're looking at the stock price, and there are so many companies who are doing the same thing, making short-term decisions, hitting short-term goals, and leaving destitution for the long-term health of whatever organization they're representing. Terrifying.
Yeah. What are we going to do about it?
Call.
Call them to F off.
Revolution.
I was thinking revolution.
Do you have any guillotines handy?
Oh my God. I mean, this is such an outrage. So they should have to explain to us in town halls why this is a good idea. They should have to have experts testify about how it's going to help. They should have to defend it. And in the middle of the night with a handwritten copy is unbelievably undemocratic, un-American.
Yes.
Should not be.
And like a side issue I want to raise is one of my friends posted a Facebook status being very upset with our fine senator, Mr. Cory Gardner. And, you know, she had a very well-written post, and at the end said, be careful, November 8th, 2018 isn't too far away. And this dude, I don't know, like, obviously I think this is what he was doing, but I was like, well, he's not for re-election until 2020. So he's just, like, doing these votes knowing that nothing bad is going to happen to him next year. And, like, at the rate that we're going right now, who the fuck is going to remember anything that's happening right now 2 years from now? Like, I'm sure he'll have a whole plethora of other really bad things that he's done by then. But, like, all these other dudes and women I'm only talking about our dude right now, but like all these other people are like, oh, I'll just vote however, like party over country and like whatever, and hopefully 2 years from now I guess I'll just deal with it then, but like right now we haven't done anything, so we need to do this. So like, and it's like, when did it ever become, okay, if we can't do anything, let's just do something for the sake of doing it, even though 75% of the country or something like that, of the people that they polled, don't agree with this. So it's like, instead of not having anything to show for it, let's just have something super bad to show for it that nobody likes. That doesn't make any fucking sense either. Like, what is going on?
You know what they're doing? They're doing it for their donors. They're doing it for the rich people. They're not doing it for us. But it's clear they're not doing it for us. With any luck, it'll be a Pyrrhic victory, right?
Yes, the Donor Relief Act of 2017.
Blown out in 2018.
And can we just mention too that this has been pushed through the House, like the House and Senate each have different versions of it, so that like, which I didn't even know was like allowed. There's so many things that I just don't think should be allowed, and we do them, and I'm just like, who in their treehouse came up with this stupid like loophole? It's just so childish. This like, I just can't get over some of the stuff that we are a world power, and we have these bizarre. When I learned about riders in high school, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you just write some bullshit and put it on the thing," I was like, "What?" Like, I just couldn't believe that was allowed. And so here I am with this one again, that they're just like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna put them in both. So if it gets killed in one, there's still another one." I'm like, what? Huh?
Well, it actually is the legislative process. One chamber writes the bill, the other chamber modifies it, hands it back until they're both happy.
But isn't it two different ones that they're like each? Don't they each have a different?
Well,
Yeah,
that's
they
what
have
has
to agree on that.
They can try to do two in parallel if they're in a goddamn hurry, but then they still have to reconcile the differences. And
Which is the conference that they're in right now, and they're crazy. But you know what? I was listening to Pod Save America yesterday at the gym, and I was laughing my ass off, like I always do. And the new lady who was on it, she's having a new podcast called Girls Just Want to Have Pod. And she was hilarious, and I definitely listened to the next one. But she said something that she does not put it past the dumbasses in the House to fuck it all up, and, like, maybe it won't work. It's like, they're crazy assholes too. So, like, who knows, you know? If we just keep on resisting, like, they might just fuck it up on their own.
Well, we did have a scare on Monday. The Freedom Caucus threatened to drop out. So, yeah, that is not impossible. You saw them turn on each other like a pack of wolves during healthcare.
Well, because they are just like, again, what Cheryl was saying, it's like, oh, I'm going to throw everything off the cliff because in the next 10 feet I see something. Or, you know, they're like running, and they're like, oh, I'm going to like sprint 10 feet, and then I'm not going to see that in 15 feet it's a fucking cliff, and I'm going to jump off the cliff and die. Oh, but like, I'm going to get that 10 feet. It's crazy people. What is happening? Can't do it. Just.
All right. So another possibility is the state and local tax deductions, where if you're in a state where you have high taxes, you can deduct before you pay your taxes, which lets states charge high taxes. Well, the states that charge high taxes tend to be Democratic states because they have generous welfare benefits or whatever, right? So, like, blue states tend to pay more taxes. New York, California in particular, New Jersey. So by doing that, they're like laser focusing in and raising taxes on blue states, which is polite. But there are Republican representatives from those states. Like, they're not entirely blue. So those people may yet say, you know, our constituents aren't going to like this. And there's enough of them that they wouldn't have the majority if just those people opposed. So it's not guaranteed this thing gets through. It's just really likely, but we should call and yell at them and make it as less likely as possible.
We have Melanie Linares in the chat who says, I'm morbidly curious how this tax plan will negatively affect the unemployment rate Trump was recently bragging about, especially in regards to unemployment benefits. I don't know I don't know enough to know to make any prediction about that.
That's a good question, though, like what it's going to do to employment. Like, legit question.
You know, I don't know either, but reading up on this, generally when tax cuts are pushed through, it's because the economy needs to be juiced.
Right.
And the economy really has been performing pretty well right now. So again, going back to the idea of trickle down, like, oh, the corporations have more money, and so they're going to invest more in infrastructure, in hiring people, in building things. Well, let's see. There's a trend for asset-light models right now, which means that I think a lot of businesses will try as much as they can not to have to invest in infrastructure. And really, they look at shareholder value. So the more dollars that they can drop to the bottom line for their shareholders, again, let's look at the more wealthy people in our population, that's where most of that money is likely to end up. So I don't think it's going to do much for unemployment.
And to Melanie's point, what they'll invest in is automation.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But you're so right. What this kind of, what a tax cut does, and why Bush did it, as you are old enough to remember, Sarah didn't get this check, but Cheryl, you did. Bush just mailed us all money, right? And we're like, okay, thanks for the check. And then some people bought stuff with it, and it helped the economy. But it was a transparent, like, we're going to send everyone a check. If only this bill were so simple.
Well, and I think it was Sherrod Brown. Sorry, I think it was Sherrod Brown from Ohio who said, hey, listen, folks, if we want to give the middle class a tax cut, why don't we just give the middle class a tax cut?
Exactly. Just mail everyone money like Bush did. You can do that. But that was to stimulate the economy. And you're right. What they're doing right now would normally be to stimulate the economy. And Trump keeps saying in the same breath, our economy is firing all cylinders. We're doing the best ever. Let's stimulate the economy. Except then that leads to other problems that the Fed is going to have to tamp down by playing with so we're going to have one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake, and we're going to be trying to like keep the car on the road.
Well, and again, I know from the House bill, I'm not sure on the Senate bill if this is still part of it, but looking at taxing the tuition that PhD students get, is that still in the bill?
Yeah.
Well, that was in one of them, yeah. I forget which one.
It's the House bill, I think.
I know it was in the House bill. I don't know if it made it through this one. But again, if you're looking to stimulate the economy, you want, to your point earlier, you want R&D. You want innovation. So anywhere that we're tamping down on those things is not good for our economy in the longer term.
No, also that's one of those things. Yeah, that's one of those things in the bill that you're like, what? I don't understand. Like, it's money that they're getting because they don't have money to pay for school. And then they're like getting their degree, so they're doing that so they don't have a job. So then they're going to have to find a job to pay taxes on money that they don't have because they don't have money. Well, I don't.
Yeah. And so if we discourage people from pursuing that higher education, we don't have that brain bank existing in our country. I mean, we're slowly eroding it. Maybe not.
Right.
You know what, Cheryl? Actually, we just have enough people that are smart, and we just don't need it anymore. We just need a whole bunch of dumb people because that just, the smart people are what leads to these kinds of conversations, and we're going to a path where they don't want these anymore. And, so actually, you're incorrect.
That was one of the main ways we got smart people from other countries and then stay here and then make our country better.
Yeah, we don't want them coming here anymore either, apparently.
It's one thing to take more money out of somebody's paycheck, but it's another thing to tax a benefit that is not actually cash, so that you have to go get a job to pay your taxes.
Yes.
Like, it's just terrible.
And then you have to pay taxes on the job wages that you're getting from the job.
Oh my God. All right, guys, let's make these calls because we're going on half an hour of us just this circular, like.
But it's so fun.
Oh my God.
I told you that I could just, freeform rage.
That's the new name of the show. Freeform Rage.
Who wants to call first?
Oh, which one should I call?
I got my bill track 50. I can call. So you have if you have a Republican in the House, legitimate choice. If you have a Republican representative in the Senate, legitimate choice.
I'm gonna call my House guy because I tend to get an actual person there.
Perfect. And then if you only have Democrats, call them and thank them for towing the line.
Yes.
Oh man, this is okay. I was really pleased, and I think I said this to Karen yesterday that I'm pretty sure it was Ratcliffe who shared the bill, like his comments on it on his Facebook page. And normally his page is mostly people who agree with him, with a smattering of, you know, us bleeding hearts going, what the fuck, dude? And them getting torn to pieces in the subthreads. But this one was uniformly people being like, what are you doing? For the first like 50 comments, which never happens. So I'm really hoping that there has been a sort of united front on this in like more ways than we realize, because, you know, it's hard to know really. You can know what the politicians on the other side are doing and how they're reacting to things, but it's hard to know sometimes what the constituents on the other side are doing and how they're reacting to things, because I don't know about you, but I tend to not follow people like that on Facebook because it's a bummer. So hopefully they are also horrified. It's hard to tell from where I sit, but all right. I'm going to use the script from 5 Calls for this one also. Boop, boop, boop.
Oh, a script's a good idea. I'll just sputter.
Sputter incoherent, right?
I was going to look for that script.
What did I just do? Why did I just hang up on her?
Because you're that mad.
That's right. We're just going to call our senators and hang up.
That was so weird. Okay, hold on, sorry. I think that I thought that there was an error because somebody answered before it rang. You guys heard that, right? It didn't ring?
I didn't hear a ring.
I think that's what I panicked, and I was just like, wait, what? And hung up because I thought there was a problem. Okay. Hi, I was calling to share my opinion on a bill.
Hi, ma'am. Your name?
Natasha Kingston. It's Kingston.
And can I have your address?
915 Ray Drive, Denison, Texas, 75020.
All right, ma'am. I can help you.
I'm calling to express my strong disapproval of H.R. 1, the disastrous Republican tax bill, and to ask that Representative Ratcliffe vote against it when it comes out of the conference committee. Tax cuts for the wealthy and corporations will create a massive deficit increase, which will then be paid for with devastating cuts to Medicare, Social Security, education. The bill was written behind closed doors by lobbyists, and the American people have been consistently lied to about what it will do to their pocketbooks and their livelihoods. The repeal of the ACA individual mandate will completely upend the health insurance market, uninsuring millions, spiking premiums, and risking coverage for those with pre-existing conditions. And the bill will hand over pristine Alaskan land to oil companies, destroying protected land and endangering wildlife. There's just so much wrong. I could continue on for another 5 minutes if I had the complete list. But please, I'm just asking for him to actually think about his constituents. Please just listen to the people, because nobody is behind this. Nobody wants this, and this isn't benefiting anybody but a tiny fraction of his constituents. And I know why he's interested in benefiting them. But do what's right. Just ask him to do what's right and vote against this.
Yes, ma'am, I will. Thank you for calling. I'll pass your message along.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. All right.
That was very civil for a clear passion level of.
Yes, it was.
I'm communicating a lot to you right now, but without raising my voice because I'm a successful adult.
Well, mostly I'm not raising my voice because I'm too tired from being quasi-sick to do it. Otherwise, I probably would. Let's be real.
Well, you mentioned 5 calls. You're reading from 5 calls. We have a new 5 calls team page.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you go to the team page and check off that you called, then we can get team credit. It's all very exciting. So I think that's a very fun thing that 5 calls is doing, and I'm excited.
Nice.
Who's calling next?
Karen.
Okay.
Am I? All right. It's having me my Democrat, and now my Republican. So I'm on the 5 calls page. I'm going to just say what I'm feeling. What am I feeling? Let's see. I'm going to go with the we don't need a stimulus right now.
Right.
Melanie says, the topics may not be fun, but I'm enjoying watching and listening to you ladies. Thanks for what you're doing. Thanks, Melanie.
Yeah. You want not fun, go listen to the rape episode. That one was... All right.
You all did see Times Person of the Year, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited. I think that is totally the right call. It's who I would have picked.
Yes.
Oh, man. This voicemail isn't even there? Hello? Corey!
You just straight up hang up on you?
Should I try?
Yes, you should try.
Did you try DC or Denver?
I tried DC because that's where we usually get people for Corey.
Hi, this is United States Senator Cory Gardner, your senator from the great state of Colorado. Thanks for calling my office. Please feel free to leave a message.
Hello, Corey. This is Sarah Johnson from 80211. And I just wanted to call to ask you to not vote for the tax bill when it passes out of committee. You are elected to represent the people of our wonderful state, and the people of our wonderful state do not agree with this, along with 75% of the rest of the country, which you also represent. If you are passing a bill at 2 a.m., that is unacceptable. It is not the process. Everything about this is unacceptable and not the process. We don't really need tax cuts for the wealthy. We don't need to be taking things away from teachers or students or the people that make America great currently and have and hopefully continue to if you don't pass this bill. And yeah, it is completely unacceptable. So remember that, and remember that you will be up for re-election in 2 years, and you should start voting like you care about us. Thank you.
Yeah.
BTW, gonna throw in a threat. Love it.
Very
You
nice.
should start voting like you care about us. That's a good line, lady.
Oh my gosh, Sarah, you're on fire. You're causing a dynamite lately.
Brilliant. All right.
I'm
So
trying.
that was awesome. I'm just sorry that you didn't get a real person.
I tend to do a little better when I have a voicemail. 'Cause then I feel bad because I'm one of those people that, like, you don't yell at the person whose fault it isn't. You
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
Right. I hear that. So you don't have to be as nice if you get a voicemail. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I can be honest instead of care about being a nice fucking person like they don't. So.
Nice.
Hee hee.
All right, am I up?
You're up.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully the dogs don't show up and start barking.
They'll know. They'll be like, now's our time.
Yeah.
Meow.
Ow!
Hi, I am calling to express my opinion on legislation for Senator Blunt. Can I leave that with you?
Yep, I'd be happy to take your message.
Great. My name is Cheryl Pryor. I live in St. Louis at zip code 63126. Do you need more info about me?
No.
Okay, great. Well, I'm calling with great concern over, of course, the tax bill. I'm sure you've heard a bit about it. And I'm concerned because it was rushed to meet a short-term goal without great comprehensive review and input, including input from the general public. And it has potentially disastrous long-term ramifications. I'm expressing concern over our growing deficit and cuts to safety nets now and the future in our society. I'm concerned about things like Medicare, Social Security, healthcare, etc. We need a healthy middle class to thrive. So I'm asking Senator Blunt not to support another version of this bill.
I definitely understand that, and I'd be happy to pass this on to the senator.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Bye. Have a great day.
That was genius. That was so good.
Yay.
Thank you.
And we didn't talk about the deficit. Oh my God, the deficit. Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Well, we
Oh,
did
I was
our
gonna make
thing.
a joke earlier about the dogs. I was gonna say, Bill's so bad, even the dogs are howling about it. I've been sitting on that for the last minute.
And with that, I think we can call it a day.
Hi, United States Senator Cory Gardner.
I gotta go.
Great state of Colorado. Thanks for calling my office. Please feel free to leave a message.
Hi, Senator Gardner. This is Karen Suhaka from Denver, 80203, and I am calling to oppose the tax bill. I hope when it comes out of conference, you will see your way clear to vote against it. I think this is a terrible time to be stimulating the economy on the backs of the middle class and the poor and people who can't afford insurance and on and on. This is a travesty, and you should be embarrassed, I am sorry to say. So I hope that you will reconsider and look at all of the problems and listen to your constituents and hopefully vote against this bill. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Oh, the humanity.
Oh, the humanity.
Yay.
I'm going to call Bennett on my own time and thank him for what he's been saying. And because Democrats need thank yous to stay strong.
I wish that I had a Democrat to call, guys. Can I borrow one?
You could be one.
There you go.
Oh, God.
Or support someone nearby running for office.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that.
Get your own Democrat.
Well,
Get your very own Democrat.
hopefully we'll have great opportunities for just that in 2018.
Indeed. All right. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for coming, everybody.
All right. Bye.
Bye.